Welcome to my Fridays at First podcast. My name is Richard Gibbons. I'm a member of the pastoral staff at First Presbyterian Church in downtown Greenville, here in sunny South Carolina. Thank you for joining us. Occasionally, you, my faithful podcast listeners, will be in touch and share your thoughts. This week, you have been cogitating on the difference between doctors and veterinarians. Dear Richard, each week I look forward to reading Fridays at First, and I'm surprised how much I am enjoying the podcast version. Thank you. I had, however, an unusual experience last week when I visited both my doctor and my vet. I am convinced that staff at my doctor's office could learn a thing or two from the reception I received from my vet's office. When I arrived with my dog, we were greeted with a smile, and the vet said, "Who's a good girl? Who's the prettiest girl? Does this sweet baby want a cookie? Does the pretty girl want her tummy rubbed?" When I visited the doctor, she looked at me and said, "You look tired, and your eyes are a little puffy." This week, a warm thank you goes to everyone who listened to part 1 of our podcast that focused on alcohol addiction. We have received so many encouraging comments, and if you wish to be in touch with our guests, you can email your questions and comments by using the following email address: podcast@firstpresgreenville.org. Please feel free to share last week's podcast link with family and friends. Today's podcast brings to us our final section of the interview with Sarah Lorne and Brady. Welcome. Final question. Both of you have come through incredible experiences, but experiences that have brought you very low. There is no other option than, as Sarah Lorne said, to surrender. Brady, likewise, you said moments ago, I had nowhere else to go. I had to trust him, if I can put words in your mouth. It's that spiritual breakthrough.
100%.
So how do you both remain sober today? Because I've engaged with alcoholics, both in my family and in wider circle of friends, and you know this so much better than I do, and I suspect some of our listeners do as well. An alcoholic will look you in the eye and promise you anything. And both of you are laughing because I guess you've been there.
Been there,
yeah,
done that,
and
yes.
you know folks who are there. So how do you both remain sober today and are involved in Alcoholics Anonymous meetings and other meetings to try and encourage others? Sarah Lorne, let me start with you.
The best thing that I have learned and attempt to practice is that I am not in control.
Right.
And that God is in control. I have to remind myself of that every day. The beautiful thing about that is when you accept that God's in control, life is so much more peaceful and there's so much less anxiety. And that is something I say to myself on a daily basis, you know, the serenity prayer, which is very common.
So let me
that we
probe
say.
a little. Why is it so much more peaceful? Why is there less anxiety?
In my experience,
Yeah.
God's plan for my life is so much greater than anything that
Indeed.
I could have constructed for myself. And we talk about God's will a lot in the
Yes.
rooms, and that God's will is not always easy, but that it's simple.
Right.
And I think it's that simplicity that allows for less anxiety.
Is there also a sense that controlling, directing, managing your life is no longer entirely on you?
Absolutely.
And you can trust him for it?
Absolutely. And when I thought that I was completely in control, I sure made a wreck of things,
Right.
trying to fit everything to be exactly how I wanted it to be, and it was not God's will.
Yes. Which takes us to Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding, but in all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your path straight. Fair?
Fair, very fair. And, go ahead.
Brady, similar question. How do you remain sober given all of the temptation? And I'm guessing it's still a real temptation for you.
100%. I mean, you know, we say it all the time, you know, this is not something that you get cured from. This is something, that we live with for the rest of our lives. Recovery is a process. There's never an end to it, and it says in our literature, to get to the God thing, God is doing for us what we cannot do for ourselves.
There you go.
And
there you go.
That's in the promises.
Right.
That's what our
Right.
As long as you work the steps of recovery to the best of your ability,
You can trust him for the outcome.
100%, and that is the beauty of everything. I hang out with a bunch of other alcoholics quite often, and the other part of it is, in order to keep this thing that we get, we kind of have to give it away and help others. That's a big part of it, and just being around others. We were at a meeting last night. There was a newcomer that came in, and he was picking up a 24-hour coin, and
Right.
it's really the coolest thing to
Yes.
see somebody come in
Yes, take that
that's
first
struggling,
step.
right?
And say, I'm needing help.
It takes so much courage.
Oh, sure.
The thought is, an alcoholic, for me anyway, is, gosh, I'm weak, and
Right.
and all of this stuff, and when really the strongest thing anybody they can do is to walk in and ask for help. That takes so much courage, man.
First step of admitting I have a major
100%.
problem.
That takes. It's just so strong, man. If you can do that,
Yep.
it's
Yep. You can pretty much do anything.
100%, 100%.
So final question then, as we kind of wrap all this up. Sarah Lauren, if there's one thing you would say to our listeners that I haven't asked yet, what would that be? Well, let me probe a little, because I know a little more about you than our listeners know.
Okay.
And for those of you listening, Sarah Lauren said to me on one occasion, there was a breakthrough moment for me after I had been sober for some time, and I had to go back to my family and make amends and explain to them I got it wrong. I've hurt you. I have belittled you. I refuse to believe you. Take the story from there.
I'm so glad you brought that up. I was thinking about that in the car on the way over here. The biggest moment for me is that amends. If I look back to, our 12-step program, that's step 9, and so thankful for all the steps that led up to that to get me ready for it. But the biggest breakthrough moment for me was doing step 9, making amends with my ex-husband. It is solely about cleaning your side of the street, owning the part that you played in your own suffering, and being able to say those things out loud. And that moment for me was when I put down the backpack full of boulders that I had been carrying around for years, and I have not picked that backpack back up again.
Right.
And I would like to say that, our family is a loving family now. That is only possible because of recovery.
Right.
My children have a dad and a stepmom and a mom and grandparents that love them so much.
Right.
And our circumstances haven't
Yes.
changed. But, recovery has allowed all of our relationship with God, and recovery and forgiveness have allowed us to really have this beautiful family.
Yes.
I'm most thankful for that.
Right.
And that amends did it.
And I'm assuming in that backpack, just as you described, full of boulders, one of those boulders will be named self-sufficiency.
Oh, yes.
The other self-confidence, the other self-will. Self is right in there, and you've taken it off, put it down, and said, I no longer have to carry this. Because of what both of you said moments ago. He is able to walk alongside me, carry the burdens I can't carry, and he sees me through. Brady, is that a fair comment?
Right on point.
Right.
Yeah, I mean.
And if you had something to say to our listeners, and you've not had a chance to say it yet, what would you say? Making amends?
Oh yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Who did you go to? Who did you have to express sorrow, regret, all that?
Well, so yeah, I'll never forget it. So when it came to that process for me in the steps, my sponsor was like, I need you to make a list of all the people that you have harmed and that thing. And
writing that down's tough, isn't it?
It was tough. And then I remember handing it to him and him looking at it and go, I don't think you're done. And then handing it right back to me, And so,
so why weren't you done?
I only had like 5 names on the piece of paper for crying out loud. So there was certainly more that I had left out because I think.
And did you not want to face the others, or was it just a case of I think this is the top 5?
Yeah, I think it was kind of like, okay, these are the biggies, right?
Okay,
okay, and there was more.
Yes,
but for me, again, at the end, the biggest thing I had to get over myself.
Yes.
And get out of myself and kind of get past all the guilt and shame that I had built up. Of course, going to my family and saying,
of course,
look, I apologized. I lied. I cheated. I did all of this stuff.
I messed up significantly.
Yes. And once that's done, oh my gosh.
It's putting the backpack down again, isn't it?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, you don't have to carry it around.
And, on a daily basis, you kind of have to do that. You kind of have to, like Sarah Lauren said, keeping your side of the street clean.
It's that process of every day.
Yeah.
Keep moving forward.
Put your head on your pillow at night. You got to be like, how did I do today? And taking that inventory and then waking up every morning.
That sense of self-awareness.
Yeah.
And awareness that, Father, you're in the middle of this. I can't do it myself.
Yeah.
I'm trusting you to take me through.
Every morning, you got to say, God, help me stay sober today. And then when you lay your head on your pillow, say, thank you. I appreciate it. Good. And it's a wonderful way to live. I'd recommend it to anybody.
Brady, Sarah Lauren, thank you both. You have shown remarkable courage to tell your story publicly. It's one thing to tell it with folks who are also struggling, but to tell it publicly to a church group, because church folks look for high standards all the time, and to open up your soul and begin to tell a little about the struggles, those low moments, but also to say, the grace of God has brought me through this. It's been remarkable to hear your story. I'm a huge fan of both of you, and your courage is just spectacular. Thanks for being guests today.
You're very welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks.
What a privilege it was to have both Sarah Lauren and Brady in the studio with us for this special edition of our Fridays at First podcast. For those of you who are listening and would like practical help, let me give you a website, upstateintergroup.org. We'll put you in touch with Alcoholics Anonymous. They will explain the 12 steps in recovery that both of our guests talked about. And you will also find on that website a list of meetings. And AA are very serious about taking the next steps when it comes to recovery. And they're immediately going to tell you that if you're wrestling with alcohol addiction, you have to attend a meeting. Come face to face with those who are struggling and get help on a personal level. We're conscious, of course, as a congregation, that folks who struggle with alcohol often have a challenging time over Thanksgiving and Christmas. So if you're wrestling with alcohol addiction, perhaps now is the time to take that first step. I hope this podcast has been helpful to you, and please feel free to share your comments with me over the next few days. As we continue with today's podcast, we move into next week and focus on the celebrations of Thanksgiving. Please remember, if you are involved in our Hollis Angel Tree appeal, to return your gifts by Tuesday the 25th next week, as the church offices will only be open on Monday 24th and Tuesday 25th. Our Sunday worship services on the 30th, that is the Thanksgiving weekend, will follow our normal schedule of 8:30, 10:45 and 11. As we continue to think about timing of services for Sunday schedules for December, the Advent season will be a little different. Please add the following dates and times to your calendar. Sunday, December 14th, we have 2 services, 8:30 a.m. and 10:45 a.m. as well. Both are held in the Worship and Arts Centre. Really planning ahead, we're now turning our attention to Christmas Eve. Services will run across the day, with the first one beginning at 11 a.m. for our children's service with a live nativity in the Worship and Arts Centre. Then we have a 2 p.m. Christmas Eve afternoon service in the sanctuary. Then a 4 o'clock children's service, again with a live nativity and also in the sanctuary. Then 7 in the evening, we have a candlelight service in the Worship and Arts Centre, and we finish off the day with the 11 o'clock watch night service, and once again, it's in the sanctuary. On Sunday, December the 28th, right at the end of the month, we have 2 services that morning, 10:45 in the Worship and Arts Centre and 11 o'clock in the sanctuary. If you missed all these details, you can find these times and dates at firstpreschristmas.com. As we continue to think about events coming up in December, please allow me to remind you that our popular Christmas concerts will take place on Saturday, December 13th at 2 in the afternoon and 6 in the evening. Our Sunday afternoon scheduled event was at 3 o'clock on December 14th, but sadly that has entirely sold out. However, if you wish to text me, I will let you have tickets at $50 each, or you can buy them on eBay. No, you can't, but I thought you'd like to hear me say that. On a more serious note, for the concerts, you'll hear Christmas favourites by our 100-voice choir, a full orchestra, and of course, our not-to-be-missed handbell choir. Tickets are available at firstpresgreenville.org/events and at the First Pres box office, our main reception area, on Sunday mornings. Tickets are $15 for adults and $10 for children 12 and under. Another annual event for us at this time of year is our Service of Remembrance. In early December each year, we hold that service for folks who have lost a loved one. The holidays can be a particularly difficult and challenging time for individuals and families who are grieving the loss of a loved one. And this year, our service will take place on Tuesday evening, December the 9th at 6:30 in the chapel. If you know someone who has lost a loved one in recent years, please invite them to come and join us. It is indeed a very moving and worthwhile service. Meanwhile, as we step back just a little from all that's happening in December, we finish up our podcast today with a focus on this coming Sunday. Please give a warm welcome this Sunday to the Hooks family as baby Gray brings Mom Julianne and Dad Eric to the 8:30 service for his baptism. At 10:45, the Howard family with Mom Madeline and Dad Parker will be looking forward to the baptism of Mary Charlotte Howard. And the 11 o'clock service will be excited to have Catherine Blythe Gilchrist to join them for her baptism as proud parents Mom Story and Dad Andrew confess their faith and participate in the sacrament of baptism. On Sunday morning, we will bring to a conclusion our current study series entitled Insights from Isaiah by exploring together Isaiah chapter 9, verses 2 through 6. Hopefully this will stimulate our thinking and help prepare us for the coming of Christ and the Advent season. Finally, allow me to remind you that there will be no Fridays at First next week as it's Thanksgiving, and to wish you God's richest blessings as you gather with family and friends next week and celebrate Thanksgiving. P.S. What do you call a turkey the day after Thanksgiving? Answer: lucky.